Welcome. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, should we start with just like the overview map?
Yeah, overview map. This
Yeah.
what's this?
So this covers the key sites. Ah, crap. We start.
You got the map, Andrew?
Kinabalu, correct?
Yeah. Map, yes. Okay.
And next we go to.
This is the map of Sabah, the part of the Borneo, Malaysia, actually on the east part. So we're starting the tour normally within Kota Kinabalu, landed in Kota Kinabalu, depending on where you are came from, because sometimes they come 2 days early, maybe 1 day early, or even mid of night to arrive. And the very next day, start in Kota Kinabalu for a short ride to beach, just to see a couple of birds, like for example, the blue-necked parrots. And then we'll come back to the hotel, have a breakfast, and head to north to Kinabalu. There's another paddy field. We are mostly looking for some water birds, and then to the Kinabalu Park. Yeah, this is the Mount Kinabalu. That's a picture of Mount Kinabalu anyway. One of the highest mountain in Malaysia. Not in the South Asia because they apparently is much higher than Kinabalu. But anyway, the birding here, we are about 1,500 meters from the sea level. And there's a couple of birds. There are about 17 to 20 endemic birds to just in the mountain area. There's a few birds around. There's the trio, the white-headed trogon, broadbill, and also the spider hunter. So these three birds are very unique because special to that particular area, the mountain, is uncommon, not easy. It's difficult to get. So even 2 days, 3 nights, 4 nights, some people spend. Maybe we'll get more, 3 of them. Otherwise, we will miss one. So some people need to come back many years after to get the species. Other common bird, there are about 240 species recorded in the whole Kinabalu Park. If you know the Singapore Island, it's almost the same size of Singapore Island, the whole park. But on the place we're going about 1,500 to 1,800 meters, temperature-wise is chill in the morning. Of course, it's not winter, but still people wearing light jacket to warm up to get some of the bird. There's about, you can get about close to 80 species on that particular area. And then struggle to get endemic, the 2 partridges. There's another one, I don't get the picture here, the fruit hunter. And of course, these 3 bird, which is top 10 of the list, especially broadbill, spider hunter, and the trogon. The other endemic is the fruit hunter, the mountain sophonego. So depending on the timing we have, sometimes, most of the time, we're birding along the roads, and different species we then off the trail to look for them, especially the partridge, the wren babblers is there, mountain wren babblers. Borneo stubtail is very, very small, and it struggle to listen to the call because it's very high pitch. And yeah, that's about the birding in Kinabalu Park. The other species, same elevation of the Kinabalu Park. Then we head to Pouring Hot Spring, another part of the Kinabalu Park, which is about 45 minutes drive to get another. Yeah. Next,
before we go to the Malu Basin, let's go with a couple of questions at Mount Kinabalu. So In the upper right-hand of the photo, that's Whitehead's broadbill, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. And the down below is Whitehead's spider hunter. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Oh, not too bad. And then the Trogon there is, help me with that Trogon species name.
Whitehead dragon.
Oh, that's Whitehead's Trogon. You guys see
Yeah.
the theme here. Whitehead was a biologist in that area. And I think there's what, 7 or 8 endemic birds named after Mr. Whitehead. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
And there's 17 Bornean endemics in Mount Kinabalu National Park, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now you mentioned one was tough. Was that the spider hunter?
Spider hunter.
Spider hunter can be tough. But I know, and I know you have a couple like places in your pocket to get that bird. And on my tour, like we got it outside the park, and I thought it was a pretty good look. But it was a scope view. But he says he might miss it, but he's always got a couple places in his pocket. And then the sunbird here in the bottom middle. What sunbird is that?
Big sunbird.
Oh, Spixes.
Temik. Name after Temik
Oh,
Kiai.
Imic sunbird. The same guy with the stint. At least that's the European species for the guy's name. I assume that's in your backyard as well. Okay, and then the little bird in the middle top
is the it used to be called black-sided flower pecker, now called a Bornean flower pecker. Also endemic content. Bornean flower pecker.
All right, Leo, can you get those questions all headed in your direction, and then ask any questions you might have?
I think all the questions, there's nothing else. It's just that we have not made the photographs. That's the only thing.
Be sure all the questions are coming to Leo.
Yeah.
Do you want to send them a text, Leo, so they know where to send it to?
Yeah, I'll do that, Charles.
Thank you, sir. Anybody got any questions there?
Nothing up.
Great. I think we're
nothing up here.
To the lovely Maliau Basin Conservation Area. All right, shoot.
Okay, Maliau. Ooh. That's very fun, Charles. Remember the place?
I do remember the place. Wonderful. Oh, I forgot to even ask about the animals over in Mount Kinabalu, because that's pretty special. But but we'll go ahead and talk about the Maliau Basin, birding, wildlife watching. That'll be nice. How many endemic species do you get in the Maliau Basin?
Well, it's quite a few you need to get there. Maliau Basin is a lowland. It's gonna be very warm, hot, humid. Most people cannot stand the humid, sweating like nobody business. Anyway, the target bird for the Maliau Basin, because of it's in the lowland, is the two piras, the blue-headed pitta, the black-crowned pitta, Bornean ground cuckoo, the two babblers, wren babblers, Bornean wren babbler, and black-throated wren babblers. And also the most wanted bird on the list is Bornean bristlehead, the species of its own. Most people will try to get this bird as much as they can, especially people are collecting birds family, because this is the only one species representing Borneo. It's Bornean bristlehead. We struggle to get that one because of the place is so huge, and we need to drive out a little bit and keep on looking at the birds and keep on playing the tape. I mean, in order to know where the bird is. I don't have the picture of the Bornean bristlehead, but this is a couple of birds which I give to you. The upper right is the black crown pitta, which is it's very common, but to get them in a good view is not easy, especially when you're birding. But eventually, you will get it anyway. And this is split from the garnet pitta, which is only found in south of Borneo, Sarawak, Kalimantan, and whole peninsula. The only endemic to North Borneo, yeah, the black crown pitta. And the lower left is a common bird, is this a green imperial pigeon. And the upper left is the verditer flycatcher, which is common bird around there. And the lower left is the used to be called banded kingfisher. Some author of the books did split the bird names. Now it's called Bornean banded pitta, which is, if you check all the birds, you can browse all the internet. They are different. Is the cheek, the color of the cheek is the bird they found in Peninsula Sumatra is brownish, and this one is the black on the cheek, the color. So that's why some auto agreed to be split, some is done, but otherwise, whatever list you have, you just put it in. But some people put in the Bornean banded kingfisher. Beside the birds, there are other wildlife in Maliau. Maybe sometimes one of the day, we do a night drive and see if anything, mostly flying squirrel, mammals, masamba deer. Occasionally, if you're very, very lucky, the Bornean, not Bornean, beg your pardon, the Sunda clouded leopard is a split from the clouded leopard found in the whole region. The place is actually under the Sabah Foundation, the Maliau Basin. It's a study center, but they once they sealed the road, used to be a very bad road. It's only 26 kilometers from the main road to the center. Used to take a couple of hours to get there, but now they sealed the road nicely, and they only get less than an hour to get there. And there's a lot of things to see while you're driving. People love the forest, and this is the place. Should be a good place, great place to be visited. The Maliau Basin. Most of the lowland bird, except if you look for wildlife, other mammals you can find, the birds, except the orangutan is not there. If you love to see a wildlife in but other places during this trip, we can try our very best to look for the orangutan. I mean, the bird, babblers, bulbuls, there are many of them. Some people don't like the babblers and bulbul because they look alike, except you're familiar with the call or you notice the color of some of the bulbul and babblers. Gonna be fun, but people those don't like allergic to any insect, especially leech. People don't like the leech because it's crawling animals suck your blood, but it doesn't give you. It's harmless. It doesn't give you any disease unless, unlike the mosquito. So this is a prime forest. So a lot of people who want to visit this place, they need to take the just this precaution. Take the malaria tablet maybe a week before you fly, or you have daily type of malaria tablet, because we never know there's malaria mosquito around. Yeah.
I have a couple points. So just remind me, are we in the Malu Basin for 3 nights or 4 nights?
3 nights.
For 3 nights.
Yeah.
And we do a night drive for 1 night or 2 nights. I think just 1, right?
Yes, just 1. Yes, and then I think we do a night walk.
Really
Well,
mammal thick, and it's pretty cool. Trying to remember. Oh yeah, and then you brought up the leeches. I actually got 1 leech, while others got a lot more. I do have my leech protocol, which I will share. It's called 100% D, but we will send you more information on that in the future. It's not that bad. And any place that gets real leechy, we get out of there pretty quick. So it's not that bad. And I would truly spend more time in the Malu Basin than I have, in spite of a couple little rough edges, because it is a unique habitat, and it's just essential. Now, let's see here. How many species do we typically add to the tour there? Maybe 80? Leo, let's
80.
go back slide and talk a little bit more about Malu Basin. Any
Okay.
questions on the Malu Basin
Maliau?
from the audience? Anybody want to text us something relevant to the Malu Basin?
Nothing, but there's just a question about what's the field guide recommended for Borneo, which we can answer at the end of the.
Okay.
Yeah.
On Borneo and Bristlehead, it's really findable any lowland area. And I know you usually get it at the end of the tour, but I know sometimes you just get lucky with it, right?
Yeah, this for this trip, the Maliau, we try to get them in Maliau as much as we can. Otherwise, there's a pickup place in Kinabatangan. There's 1 tributary, and also the last place in the Sepilok. I mean, in the Rainforest Discovery Center. But we'll have a short time there, so we probably, if we miss in Maliau, then we train Sukan, then we're gonna miss the bird anyway.
Yep. And then just a little bit about pitta watching. I found that really interesting. I believe the blue pitta, we just had to be really still and patient. And then we got golden looks. That's pretty typical, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Charles.
Yep.
Dave here. I have an odd question, perhaps. So in Latin America, they've started figuring out how to set up feeding stations for ant pittas.
That's a great question.
Is there anything like that going on in Asia for these pittas?
Okay.
Yeah, shoot, Andrew, what do you know about that?
Okay. There's a big problem 2 or 3 years ago because of the expose of the bird area by the photographer, not by the birders, by the photographer. So what happened is they don't have a feeding station. However, we found out that a lot of the photographer, especially from there's a local photographer club here who actually decided to call the friends. It's not because of business, but they call a friend which want to take a picture. So there's a couple of places where they decided to feed the birds especially like banded pitta, Bornean banded pitta, this black crown pitta. And there are many problems occur because of when for the photographer, for them, because they want to get the best shot of the bird, so they need to use the hide, put this mealworm there, take a picture, and then show them in the Facebook, whatever blog they have. And when the officer, most of the places like in Kinabalu Park, is, they have rules and regulation, and most of the forest. So when they found out, they banned most of the photographers to coming in, and they're being pre-warned that it should be in Sabah. We don't allow them to do a feeding station, feed the bird. But this is something that nobody can stop them unless they are being prosecuted or give them a penalty because of the feed the bird. But in Peninsula, the different story in Fraser's Hill. If you browse a place called Fraser's Hill, also started by the Singaporean photographer. There's one place, all in the morning, 7 o'clock, they put all the mealworm, all the birds come around, take a picture, maybe 45 of 1 hour, and then they move. So by the time you want to look for the bird is not there unless they're going there. So we didn't have really feeding station, what they call it, feeding station. We are not allowed to feed them, but this is done by the photographer, not for the birders. So it's not really allowed. Unlike in US, because of the migratory birds like the hummingbirds, you have the feeding station and so on. In Thailand, they do feeding station. So when you can't find this bird, especially pitta, we will bring you to the place. You have big hide. You just sit there. They put the food there, mealworm, whatever it is, and you see the bird, and you move out because they take turn. So I'm optimistic about this idea. It's not really good. It's not a thrill because eventually when the bird get used to the mealworm, I'm not really sure what's gonna happen next. Maybe they know how to look for your own food. It's another incident. 2 years ago, this blue banded pitta. This is another very endemic bird, very difficult to get. And then this photographer went there. They're still allowed to go there, but the ranger who look after the place don't know what happened to them. They keep on feeding. And a week after, they found out, when they checked the place, they found out one bird was dead. So I think they overfed the birds. So they decided to ban all photographers to go there, not allowed any photographers. For birders, they know the guide. Some of the photographers, they don't actually use the guide. So they just, because for them, it's not going to look for many birds, the only specific birds. So that's a problem. But as far as I know, we don't have a feeding station at all the places. So it's really, you need to struggle and enjoy the trip. And well, it is fun to look for a bird in the wild. I'm using call, whistle the bird. If it's not coming towards the tape I play, you just leave it. You get another birds. It's just fun. This is how it is. Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
sure which thing I'm on, but yeah, Andrew, thank you for your comments there. I do know that Thailand has been doing more and more feeding. And truly, I remember 6 or 7 really outstanding pitta views on the tour. So I thank you for that. And somebody commented in that, we just got to keep the birds safe.
Yeah.
And truly, it is a great joy to look for birds and keeping it tough. I'm going to move on the Kinabatangan River,
Kinabatangan.
and I'll let you pronounce it appropriately. Go, my friend.
Okay. So after the Maliau basin, actually after Maliau, we drive another 2-3 hours, couple of hours to reach to Tawa Hills Park. This part of the route of the tour. So what happened in Tawa Hills Park, same thing, lowland, mostly a common bird. If we don't get other birds like pita in Maliau, we didn't get tried that. But I think because of the short period of time we have, they mostly trek up to the tallest tree in the world. I mean, this type of dipterocarps in Tawa, trek up there for about an hour, 45 minutes and back again. And then we need to drive to Tawa town to stay overnight. And very next day, visiting one of the beach. It's not many of the weathers anyway, but part of the routes. And we will go to this place called Kinabatangan. This is Kinabatangan river. We will stay in one of the resort in the riverbank. So what happened is once we arrived there between 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So after check-in in the resort, we'll give you a few minutes to put up all this stuff in the rooms and then get ready for the boat ride. This is the boat ride. During the boat ride is late in the afternoon. There are many birds roosting on the dead tree and hornbills. There are about 8 species hornbill we have here, and this is the a view when before the pandemic. A lot of boats around that Kinabatangan River is going to be like a certain place. They are looking for normal people, normal tourists. They will looking for the proboscis monkey. If you love mammals, this is the place where you can have a good view of the proboscis monkey. And other monkeys, long-tailed macaque, pigtail macaque, is commonly found along the riverbank. So late in the afternoon, there's strange about the proboscis monkey. They are coming to the riverbank. That's the only time people see the monkey very well. But for us, we try to look for hornbills. We try to get those hornbills within. This is the white crown. The most difficult hornbill we try to get is the white crown hornbill, and also the helmeted hornbill. Now, if you read the books about 100 birds you need to see before you die, one of the birds is called helmeted hornbill. It's now very vulnerable because of the poaching. I mean, not here in Malaysia, but I think part of Borneo, Kalimantan. They try to get the birds and sell to Chinese market because of the using, I don't know what the purpose for this, especially the head of this hornbill. But anyway, during the trip, beside the mammals, birds, I try to identify certain bird. Also, the main target for this area beside the Maliau basin is the ground cuckoo. The Bornean ground cuckoo is similar to related to the one of the species in Madagascar. Apparently, it's also endemic. It was split many years ago from the ground cuckoo found in Sumatra. So this is another bird which is when people come to this area, they are mostly looking for this bird because of easy access from the town. The nearest town is called Sandakan. So there's a direct flight from Kota Kinabalu or from Kuala Lumpur using the Asia. So direct flight, you drive 3 hours to get there and then spend maybe 3-4 nights just to get the birds. Otherwise, you need to go to Danum Valley Maliau basin to get the Bornean ground cuckoo. So then there's a 2 hours boat ride. Other animal, if we are very lucky that the elephant is around, it's called Bornean elephant, pygmy elephant. Yeah. So now we have 4 species: African, Indian, Asian, and the elephant found in Borneo is called Bornean pygmy elephant. If they are around, then we try to get the elephant as well. So some people are very happy to get the Bornean elephant, a smaller size compared to the Asian cousin. So also that's mostly targeted by the people over there. And come back to the resort, have dinner, and rest the rest of the night. The very next day, also we have to wake up. It's depending if you're willing to go another cruise and then rest in the afternoon. Yeah, so that's 2 nights in Kinabatangan. Morning and afternoon cruise. There's a place where you can visit. A small trail we can go on birding. I'll try to get some species, depending on what species we're looking, common or whatever it is. And then after 2 days, 2 nights there, then we move on the last place where we're gonna stay.
I'm gonna,
Yep.
Leah, you wanna go back a slide? Yep. So, the Kinabatangan River, which I may never pronounce correctly, but
Kinabatangan.
thank you, my friend. But the river tours we do in the morning. Well, we do one in the afternoon and one in the morning, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And besides that, birding around the area, even around the lodge, can be kind of interesting. And beyond, what is it, 7 or 8 hornbill species you get along the river?
Yes.
Yeah. And rhinoceros, hornbill, I think we saw 28 in about 50 yards along the river.
Yeah, that's common.
And then what other birds do you get besides the hornbill? Because you got quite a few, and we got a pit.
Yeah, the other bird is tomstock.
What?
Tomstock and the lesser edgetan. That's the only bird we need to get there.
Okay.
Stormstock.
Stormstock and the lesser adjutant. There's a little bird that was hanging out over the river. Maybe it was.
Yeah. Also with the falconet.
Yeah, right.
The smallest predator in the world, the Bornean falconet, they call it, or white-fronted falconet.
Along the river, and I was actually surprised. The boatmen were very skilled at slowing the boat down for binocular views. And let's see, what else do I remember? Oh, what about? I know we don't have a slide on this.
What?
On the cave area. What's the cave area called? Where the orangutans are? What?
That's right.
I mean, that was one of my favorite.
If you remember, I can remember. We need to go to. We didn't have the afternoon cruise, and we'll go to Gomantung Cave. This is the best, famous cave for the bats, bat hawk.
Yeah.
It's just to be prepared. Bell.
Right. And so to be clear, remind me of the name of the cave.
Cave. Gomantung Cave.
Yeah. So it's a good spot to find orangutans. We had one maybe 10 feet away before it scuttled off. And then
right.
It's a great place to see the nesting swiftlets. Remind me of the swiftlet set that's in the cave.
Mhm.
What are the swiftlet species in the cave?
Well, there are 4 species. Those but don't do echolocation, only nesting on the edge. The mouth of the cave is the now it's called what do you call it? It's actually small-toed swiftlet, a white-bellied swiftlet. There's another name. It's only split. However, the other one was the mostly nest swiftlet, which is they build the nest with. Yeah, that's not edible. And the other 2 is the black nest swiftlet and edible nest swiftlet, which is they harvest that place. They harvest the bird nest every 4 months after the young birds fledge out from the nest. This is the monitored by the wildlife under the wildlife department there. That's a 4 species, yeah.
Yeah, so it's an interesting walk. It's an interesting place to go. Surprisingly, not that crowded compared to the river where there's a lot of other boats, but there's also a lot of remote areas along the river that birders get to go. So it's a nice couple days. And remind me the name of the lodge there. We always get the question. The question we always get is, where are you staying in Lodge X? But it's the Min Lodge, right?
Yeah, it's the main lodge. Yeah, it's
really nice. It's a gorgeous lodge. The keys are hard to use there.
Yeah, this nice resort, the lodge. Yeah, it's a mine. Mine resort. Mine resort.
The mine resort. Yeah, so we always get questions. Why aren't you staying at this lodge versus that lodge? And like, I've stayed at the mine resort. It's beautiful. The food is nice. The boat service is good. And you drive by the other lodges on the river and they look not as nice as the mine resort. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's all I remember about Kinabatangan area. And I'd really enjoyed the caves as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions for folks?
Nothing.
All right. People feel free to, here's one. Get Malaysian food as well. Oh my God. Yeah. Question about food. We mostly eat Malaysian food. I don't know if we ate Western food at all.
No. Most Malay or the Chinese style.
Yeah, it's all Malay and Chinese stuff food. And truly, the food on the tour is pretty outstanding. We often did buffet style, right? So you people had a choice.
Yeah, buffet style, yes.
Yeah. No, the food is outstanding on this tour. All right, and then we wrap up at the Sepilok area. Go, my friend.
So we wrap up. We drive out from there about 2 hours to the last place before fly out the very next day. Is Sepilok area. The resort called Sepilok Nature Resort. It's only a few yards, very next to the Sepilok Rehabilitation Center, Orangutan Rehabilitation Center. So those still keen to want to watch the orangutan if missed in the wild. I think the last trip was the one lady decided to go for the look for the orangutan, and they have a feeding station there. They feed the orangutan twice a day, 1:10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. So yeah, those want to go for the orangutan, you can go, but otherwise they will go in the call the Rainforest Discovery Center. They have very nice steel canopy. And we try to get some of the other birds. There's this common bird which is not found elsewhere. Some even is common depending on the habitat. Like for example, this sunbird, which is they have a lot of flowers there, and this is very nice, almost like the hummingbird. This colorful color of the bird. This this copper-throated sunbird on the upper left and the upper right, sorry, and also the kingfisher. This one is called the Rufus chestnut kingfisher. What is forgotten? Chestnut kingfisher, yeah.
Yeah.
And also the spider hunter. There's a many. They have a common spider hunter. This one, a thick-billed spider hunter, bulbuls, the spectacle bulbul, and also during that particular period, because we have the whole afternoon, so also we do a bit of trekking and plus stay, spend a little bit of time in the canopy, try to look out for the last place, backup place for the Borneo and Bristol head. And many other small birds around that particular the Borneo Rainforest Discovery Center. Now, because of the pandemic, the extending the bridges, hopefully they will complete this year, so they will add more bridges where we can look for some birds there. And if we miss the black crown pitta, for example, in Maliau, some other place. So this is another backup place for the black crown pitta, which is we need to trek a little bit. You can hear them calling from the canopy. So then we have to go down, walk to the trail, look for the birds. And then we had check-in the Sepilok Nature Resort. And the very next day, we have a couple of hours to bird again go back again to the Rainforest Discovery Center. Before head back to the hotel, we have early lunch, check out, and we'll drop you off to the Sandakan Airport on the last day before you fly to Kinabalu and your next destination. If you have the book the direct flight from Sandakan to Kuala Lumpur, that's well, they have afternoon and late afternoon flights. Otherwise, you need to fly to Kinabalu and then do your connecting either to Kuala Lumpur, maybe to Hong Kong, whatever it is. So that's the last day of our trip, wrap up in the Sepilok Nature Resort. It's depending. We have booked early because this year, I hope we have rooms available because of, I think the all the booking is stuck up because they're waiting for the government to say yes to the door to overseas, but it's depending on your country as well. If you are allowed to travel and we allow tourists to go in, and then that's fine.
Great.
Right.
Any other questions from the audience?
Nothing else coming, Charles.
Oh, somebody asked the expected number of species on the trip. Boy, I'm usually really good at identifying.
Well, how much is that? 230?
So 230 species.
Yeah, 230. The whole Borneo species about 600 plus. They have, I mean, if you browse the sun bear. Okay, talking about the sun bear. Okay, this is another interesting topic. The giant flying squirrel, we will do, when we do the night drive in Maliau, we'll have a chance to see the giant flying squirrel, yeah? And for the sun bear, if we're lucky in Maliau during the night drive, we can see the wild. Otherwise, again, in the orangutan rehabilitation center, very next to it is the conservation for the sun bear. So give you a choice. Either you want to follow for the morning, morning birding, because the center is open up at 9 in the morning. So you can probably, we can just visit. It's only a walking distance, about 10-15 minutes from where we stay. The gate, the center is open 9 in the morning, so you can visit the sun bear conservation center. They have it in Sepilok there. So that's the only place you want to see the sun bear. Yeah.
All right. A question
Woodpeckers,
about what
yeah.
woodpecker species you get on the tour.
Woodpecker. Well, there's a many woodpecker where I tried very much. I know there are many people hunting for the great slatty woodpecker. I have a nice story to tell you guys. I have doctors from Tucson in Texas 3 years ago. Is a specialist in drugs, especially for cancer. So I'm not really sure what they're coming here. They're birding here, and then the very next day, when we're starting the birding, personally he talked to me. There are two couple actually, but this one of them is kin birders. They said, Andrew, I've been spending 25 years hunting for this bird. What bird you're targeting? I said, bristlehead. That's part of it. It's the great slatty woodpecker. I said, this is good. It's supposed to be common. Which country you been? He said, went to India, went to Thailand. I missed the bird. I said, so this time around, do you think I can have a chance to see the bird? I said, well, I'm not really sure, but I'll try my very best. So that is actually a target bird. 25 years he's been hunting. He actually have a phobia. Even his doctor, another doctor advised him, you have a disease. He said the disease because he missed the bird. So we have about 10 days with them. This one is not in Maliau, but in Maliau, yes, we can see the birds. Not easy, but I'll try my very best to look for the birds. There's certain places we can stop. This trip is went to Dun Valley. It's another area for birding. So we have 3 nights there. So every day he called his doctor from the States and he talked to me, Andrew, we think tomorrow we have a chance. I said, well, I'm not really sure, but depending on the bird. If it's calling, I can hear them. I can try my best to use the tap to come up. So this last day in the morning, we were trekking about 1 kilometer away from the lodge, and the bird is calling. So I call him. The bird is the great slatty woodpecker is calling. So he ran towards me. Where is it? They said he nearly fall down because it's I think he's 17 years old. He said, no, the bird is still in the forest. So when I called the birds, I think about 15 minutes, the bird responded, flying. Now, birding in the rainforest is the neck breaker because a lot of the trees taller than the tree you find in South America. So you need to get ready your neck, exercise your neck to see 60, 70 meters above the same. So when the bird came, 3 birds were there, spent about at least 30 minutes. The bird were around the feed and put in a scope and saw the bird. He hugged me. He said, thank you very much. I think I now healed from my own disease, he said. So that's it. But many woodpeckers, we try to get the great slatty, small woodpeckers like, there are quite a number of woodpeckers around. During the trip, we will see quite a few of them, the woodpeckers along the trip actually. In Kinabalu Park, the only 1 or 2 species of the woodpeckers, the crimson wing woodpeckers, sometimes the orange back, and then the crimson wing woodpeckers around there. But along the way, there are quite a few woodpeckers. It's just a matter of whether the bird is around or not, and depending on our luck, really.
Hey, I'm just gonna do a couple administrative things and a couple wrap-up bits, as we just got about 5 minutes left. And I do have my dog running around in the background trying to get out on a cold day. But anyway, so we will get out a frequency list for the trip that will cover both birds and mammals and other wildlife. And truly, the butterflies on this tour are a little hidden gem that we barely touched today. And Andrew's wife is secretly a butterfly guide, and she's taught him more than he shares. But he does share his species identification. So I do appreciate that. And just quickly on the sun bear, that does require a 1 day extension, but it's easy to do. And then the Sepilok Lodge at the end of the tour is as close to a 5-star lodge as I've ever seen. It's just ridiculously luxurious. It is packed with orangutan recovery center type tourists, but it's a great place to bird. Golly geez. So just on the administrative part, anybody who doesn't want their private name mentioned, we can delete you off. I don't think we've mentioned a single private name. I can think of one. First name is Dave, but besides that, I think we're good to go. But just email service@pibird.com if you want your private identity hidden. Golly, I got nothing more. Any other questions?
No,
Hearing none.
no, there's one about the trip, when the trip is run, that's it.
What?
There's one about the trip, why is the trip run in summer while the Thailand trip is run in the fall and in winter? What's the difference?
What's kind of the best season for Borneo? It's actually pretty long, right?
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Most of the burden from state, depending on the travel agent, but almost from March towards I suppose it's September, by expecting a rain as well in one of the trips. So it's a part of the trip. If you think it's part of the trip, then you don't feel disappointed when it's raining a whole day and then the very next day. But really, depending on from March towards September, there's certain place, especially the accommodation wise, sometimes it's quite running full because of not the birders, but normal tourists to come there. So peak season will be May, June, July, August for normal birding trip. Yeah. So summer.
Expected number of species on the tour.
We said 230.
230.
That's right.
But we will send out frequency lists. And it is very targeted on endemics and other special birds that you don't get in other parts of Asia. Any other questions? And then I think we'll wrap it up.
I think nothing else, Charles, from my end.
Okie doke.
Oh,
Andrew,
Yeah,
wait,
there's somebody online, Charles.
yes. Hi, what was the lavender colored bird in the announcement?
boy, I saw that question. I don't have the announcement handy, but just give us your name and we'll make sure you get that question. Or why don't you text your name to Leo, and then we don't have the privacy thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And you can email Charles at pibird.com and I'll take care of you too. I just don't have the announcement handy.
Right.
I apologize. Any other questions? And I think we'll wrap it up. All right, people are fading here. I think we can wrap it up, Leo. Hey,
Yeah.
Andrew, thank you very much. A pleasure to catch up.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Bye,
Thank you,
Andrew.
everyone. Bye. Bye.